Hello, hello, ladies. I am excited to get into our topic today. So, we are going to be talking about stress management, and how managing your stress or not managing your stress can really impact your results. So, welcome to the live. I am Coach Steph. I'm a registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. So, if you're new to the group, say hello. If you are watching the replay, hashtag replay, let me know that you're watching. I would love to know who watches. I love the fact that you guys do watch the replays. So that's awesome. If you're here watching live, you can hashtag live, say hello. We're going to be talking about stress management. We're going to talk about how stress is impacting your results. And this is actually a really huge topic in terms of weight management, especially if you are going for fat loss. And I think this is skipped a lot because we just think we need to go harder, we need to do more, we need to eat less, and actually this is causing a lot of stress on our body, and it's actually having the exact opposite effect of what you want. So that's what we're going to dig into today. Hey Tawana, thanks for watching, thanks for being here. So I'm going to dive in, y'all. Stress, right? So I have been talking about this. If you've been on some of my lives, you know that stress is not just like psychological, right? There's all kinds of other stress responses that are happening in our body. And when we eat or when we don't eat, we are causing changes in our body, whether it be hormonal changes or just chemical changes. Our body likes to stay relatively the same, and so when we start to make changes, it will try and compensate to keep us more or less at a even kill level. So, hey April, Kiara, hi ladies. Talking about stress today, stress management, and how you can manage your stress, why it's so important to do that, and how it might be affecting your results. So, before I dive in, actually, I wanted to let you know my Fitness Pal makeover is open. So, if you have not already signed up for that, that is a one-on-one call with me, 8 days inside of my at least 8 days. It's the 8-day video series teaching you how to hit your goals every day without having to be in my Fitness Pal every single day. I will give you your exact macros and calorie level and a 6-month blueprint of what I think you should be doing over the next 6 months. And then also you can hop on the wait list for the Fit Figure Formula. That is, we're going to start another group session in a couple months because the group is closed, but don't tell nobody. I have a couple of one-on-one slots open, and I hadn't been taking any one-on-ones. But I have a few ladies who are graduating from the program, so I have a few one-on-ones. So I only work with a select few people for one-on-one because this year I stopped taking one-on-one. So if you're interested in that, definitely get in my DMs, or you can click the link in the profile or in the pinned comments and apply for that. All right, so let's get into it. So, why stress matters and how to reduce your stress. Okay, so the number one thing that we really need to be concerned about is when we are stressed through psychological stress or physiological stress, it increases cortisol. Cortisol has it can increase our affinity to deposit fat in our abdominal section. Okay, so when we feel stress, either from your job or from life, whatever's going on, or if you're eating way too little and working out way too much, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you've been dieting for a really long time, like all of that is stress on your body. Okay, and so the reason why this is important is because the things that we are doing are affecting our hormones. So a lot of us are perimenopause, menopause, our hormones change, and we just kind of like throw our hands up like, oh, well, this is just like a normal part of me getting older. But there are some things that we can do besides just getting on some medication or something like that to actually help mitigate some of those hormonal changes. Okay. So when the body does not know when that stress is going to end, whether it be psychological or physiological stress from over dieting, over working out, our body is designed to help us to live. So it doesn't really know when that stress is going to end. So it will try to conserve energy by not burning as many calories, right? So let's say you're in a heightened chronic stressful state, and if you were to continue to burn as many calories as you were, your body is like, okay, I'm not going to have enough fuel or fat, because that's primarily what our body likes to burn for energy. It's like, okay, let me conserve and let me not burn as many calories. And this is like very non-technical definition of all of this, but our metabolism starts to slow down a little bit, right? And so that is to help mitigate and conserve energy for other things that you are prioritizing by not addressing your stress. Okay. So we tend to also, when we feel stress, some of us tend to overeat. So you can let me know in the chat if you're under stress, if you're an overeater, if you're an undereater. Which one are you? When you feel stress, whether it's from your job, your family, life, do you feel like, oh, I'm running to food, I know I'm an emotional eater? Or does stress kind of like shut you down all the way? And it's just like, if I'm super stressed, I don't even have an appetite, I'm not eating. Which one are you? Says, my life is extremely stressful right now. Caretaking for my handicapped mom, and now my husband is hospitalized. Haven't gotten any workouts done. Well, here's the thing, Tawana, and I hope that both of them, feel better and are up to their potential. I know you said your mom is handicapped. What if it's not a problem that you take a week off or however long of working out? You go so hard. I see your steps and I'm like, wow, like you get way more steps than I do. And I want you to think about taking rest, especially when your body's actually telling you that you need rest, as a sign that you might need some rest, right? And rest is productive too. As long as you're like actually getting rest, it doesn't have to be a problem. You deserve rest and you can take rest. Like, give yourself permission to have rest without feeling guilty or bad about it. Like, it's okay for you to take rest. It's okay for you to like not go hard every day or even every week. There are times when I literally just don't, I'm in a funk. It happens at least probably once a year. And there might be several weeks where I don't work out, but I don't make it a problem. It's like not a problem. It's fine. I'm going to get back on it. I trust myself, right? So you don't have to pound the pavement every single day. Maybe your body needs that break too. So April says, I can be an overeater. Tawana says, I'm an undereater when I'm in stress. Right. So when we have stress, right, some of us are overeaters, and we can overeat by like literally the eating too much volume of food, or we can be an overeater in terms of just calories and eating really, really rich foods, things that have lots of fat or lots of sugar, or just eating out a lot and out of just convenience, and that just has more calories per volume. So an overeater doesn't have to be volume. It can be like the food quality and your food choices as well. Or undereaters. I tend to be an undereater. If I'm super stressed, which I'm trying to think, I feel like I haven't been as stressed for quite a while, because I haven't been undereating, I don't think. But if I am stressed, I tend to be an undereater. right? And so both of these situations can impact your health journey. So obviously, if you're overeating, that's going to impact your health journey because you're probably not eating like, the healthiest foods. You're probably eating things that are more rich, and it's going to make you feel comforted, and those things probably have a lot more calories than what you would be eating otherwise, right? And then under eating also puts stress on your body, like more stress than what you're already feeling, because now your body, you have some psychological stress, but then you're also under feeding your body. And so I want you guys to think about calories, right? We always think about calories and weight loss or whatever. But what about your micronutrients? What about your calcium, your magnesium, your manganese, your iron, right? Like when we're not eating, we're also not giving our bodies like all these minerals and micronutrients that we actually need to function properly, to have energy, to think properly, to ward off cancer, right? Like it's more than just calories and macros. So when you're not giving your body enough food, enough calories, enough macros, enough micronutrients, this is putting your body under more stress, right? So undereater, you're putting your body under more stress. Overeater, you're obviously your body's going to store that, right? It's going to store that as fat. And when we actually are chronically stressed, it affects our actual nervous system. So your gut is referred to as our second brain because it has an extensive nervous system, right? And think about when your nervous system is triggered, it really prioritizes life preserving functions, right? And so your gut may function differently when you're under chronic stress, and it affects how your food is actually absorbed and digested, right? They don't call it our second brain for nothing. So if you are already an overeater, right, and now you have like gut issues, like that's one of the main reasons why people have so much gut issues, and you're probably not eating the best food, and it's just like compounding, right? Stress on top of not eating the best, on top of just GI issues, and all of these things can kind of be mitigated by holding space for negative emotions, being able to reframe, and having a chronic and long-term system for managing stress. Okay, so kind of want to recap really quickly. So why stress matters: number one, it can affect your cortisol, and that lends itself to having more abdominal fat. Our body will start to conserve more energy and not burn as many calories because it's prioritizing other functions in the body. When we're stressed, we tend to either overeat or undereat, which neither one of those is a positive for our body. Our nervous system actually is triggered, and then we don't digest our food as we would in other circumstances. Okay, so let me check the chat. So what is the balance? Calories you can afford to eat, Stephanie. Well, thanks. But I don't know. I have definitely, this is one of the heaviest I've been, but y'all don't see me complain. Like, I think your weight is always going to fluctuate, and there's never like an ending. But I am the same weight that I was when I was full term with my children, right? So I'm a little heavy. I'm a little on the heavier side for me, but I never really make it a problem. Because it's always going to be something. Let's see. Today was the first time I didn't order more food. I went to Wendy's and only had a single burger. However, I was starving and wanted to go back in line. Instead, I just drank water. I was proud of myself for a change. Blood pressure is up. Yeah, so being able to manage those impulses during that time, because it always is going to pass. right? It's always going to pass. That's why I try to remind myself, like, it's going to pass. Um, Eating carbs, brownies from Starbucks, next to calories. Okay. So, did you say 120 pounds, April? So, I posted about this recently. I'm 183. Okay, I am 5'8". So I don't know how tall you are, but that might be tall for some people. It's not that tall. But 120 pounds? I am 183. Matter of fact, I was 186 when I stitched on the scale today. No, I'm not 120 pounds. I haven't been 120 in I don't know how long. I undereat when I'm stressed, but I crave sweets before my cycle. Yeah, that's totally normal as well. And I think I have a training on cravings, but one really, really, really important thing in terms of cravings, because that's just hormonal too, right? Is planning out your meals and like eating protein rich foods every no more like every 2 to 4 hours essentially. So this is what I have my clients do. I have them map out, like, I'm getting all off topic, but I have them map out, okay, this is what time I wake up. If I wake up at 6, I want to eat something between 6 and 8. Like in the first 2 hours of waking up, I want to eat something, right? And actually, that's one of the points that I'm going to hit on in a second about stress. So what to do. So we talked about some of the ways, and there are way more ways too of how stress is impacting you, but I just went over a few. So what do we need to do, right? So number one, obviously we want to mitigate some of our psychological stress. And do you know how you can do that? Some of the ways is, number one, setting boundaries. Saying no. That's super important. Sometimes we've obligated ourselves to do all these things, these extra things at work, or these extra volunteer things with our school, with our kids and stuff, and it's just too much, right? So literally setting boundaries, saying no. Doing things that actually light you up and make you happy. Sometimes it's not even that we're doing too much, it's just that we're doing too little of the things that actually bring us joy, that actually light you up. You're doing all these things, but it's always empty. Putting it in your calendar to do something that really brings you joy. And I like this term of chasing joy. Like, what if you woke up and you like chase joy? And not in like a scarcity type of way, but meaning like you are intentional about creating joy. You're doing joy on purpose. We're doing happiness on purpose. We're doing self-love on purpose. Right? Like, and having that as a staple in your on your calendar. Not just when it's a stressful situation, but as an ongoing part of your life. That's really, really important. What sometimes we tend to do is when things are going well, we don't work on stress management, or we don't work on our mindset. Sometimes when my clients are doing really well and they've kind of gotten themselves out of a hole mentally, and then they stop doing what was working, which is working on your mindset. And then when something happens or they have a low point, it's like, oh, your mindset and your working on your nervous system is not for, it's not for the good times. It's so you're storing up for the hard times that are coming. Right? So in order for us to mitigate stress, we have to make it a mandatory in our everyday life, so that we're not trying to pour from an empty cup. Okay? So are you setting boundaries? Are you saying no? Are you saying yes to yourself? Are you doing things that actually light you up? Are you doing some deep breathing? Are you doing some meditation? One of the most powerful things that you can do is literally sit in silence. We are overstimulated by our phones, by social media, by our kids, by our work, having emails all times of the day and night. Silence. Stillness. We get very uncomfortable because we're not used to feeling our feelings. That is one of the most powerful things that you can do. is to sit in silence, to just focus on your breath, to just focus on your heartbeat. It's a powerful thing, very simple, right? So we want to chase joy on purpose. We want to meditate. We want to um, have some silence, do some deep breathing, do things that light you up, set boundaries, say no, right? And that is part of dealing with your psychological stress. I did a interview. This was a while back in this group, but you can find it in the events tab, where I interviewed Coach Tracy, or she's a therapist, and she talked about categorizing your stress in terms of avoidable stress and unavoidable stress. So there are some stressors that we can mitigate, right? We don't have to engage in. But then there's some things that we might not be able to get rid of, but we can make a plan for helping us to manage that stress a little bit better. Okay. So that's psychological stress. A couple of things that you can do in terms of your physiological stress is to strength train and reduce the amount of high intensity exercises that you're doing. So high intensity exercises are interval training, where you're going really, really hard, and then you might be pulling back a little bit, but you're really maxing out. And that is stressful for your body, right? So it can be a good thing. I've always liked to exercise in that way, but it also is creating stress in your body. So you really want to focus on strength training. Even if you do like HIIT exercises, you still want to make the bulk of what you're doing strength training, because you're going to be building muscle. That muscle is more receptive to carbohydrates, more insulin sensitive. It's going to help you look like you train, right? And get that tone look that everybody wants to get. But it also is not going to have as much of a stress response on your body. Okay, so you want to strength train. You want to, if you're doing a ton of HIIT classes, like 4 to 5 times a week, you probably want to just reduce that to like 2 times a week, and then do 3 to 4 strength training sessions. Okay. Another thing that we can do is eat breakfast. So a lot of us are running on coffee in the morning. And if you're already stressed and you're not eating enough, not eating breakfast, especially for women who are in perimenopause, menopause, etc., is not helpful. So I think I talked to Coach Julie. So there's another training that I did where we talked about women in menopause. If you look in the group and search for menopause belly, Coach Julie talked about eating breakfast and not just running on coffee in the morning, right? So that's something that you can control. You can have something in the morning, whether it's like a Greek yogurt, or at least just some nuts out the door if you're busy or something like that. But like getting used to having something in your system in the morning, and not just running on coffee. Getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. This is so important. This goes back to the stress response of cortisol. If you're constantly getting 5 hours of sleep and you're doing HIIT training and you're not eating breakfast in the morning, that's a lot of stress on your body. You will be amazed if you start getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, how much more energy you have, how much more focused you can be. Okay, that's very, very, very important. Another thing is eat. I know we want to lose weight, but a lot of times, a lot of my clients are just under eating and they're not eating enough. So are you getting enough macros? Are you getting enough micros, right? Our micronutrients are very important. Those minerals that are provided to us through whole grains, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. Are you getting enough, right? So eating helps to, if your metabolism has kind of slowed down, actually eating helps with that. Okay, I talked to Coach Kayla. It's another training in the group where we talked about reverse dieting and intentionally eating more to help with your metabolism while you focus on strength training and increasing your muscle mass. Okay, so strength training, reducing your HIIT if you're doing a ton of HIIT exercises, eating breakfast and not just coffee in the morning, getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, actually eating enough total calories. Walking is so important. So making sure you're getting at least 8K steps a day, being intentional. So one thing that I did the other day, I went to the gym and I was on the treadmill. I was walking at a 3 pace. I don't know if it's like 3%, but the treadmill said 3. And I was going to see how long did it take me to get 1,000 steps. And it took me about 8 minutes and 45 seconds to get 1,000 steps. So let's say you are only getting like 4K steps a day. And you want to eventually increase it up to 8K, but you don't want to set this high goal. All you got to do, increase your steps by 1,000 steps. And literally that took me 8 minutes and 45 seconds, right? And so if you feel like I don't have 8 minutes, split up that 8 minutes into 2-minute segments 4 times a day, right? And get that extra 1,000 steps, right? And if you do that, if you do 2 8-minute segments, that could be an extra 2,000 steps a day. Okay, so walking is an excellent way to move your body. Non-exercise thermogenesis is also very important. It's not just about a workout, y'all. And if you're walking in nature, that's a double bonus, right? So nature, getting outside, getting some vitamin D on our skin. As black and brown people, we have a little bit more melanin, and it actually takes us a little bit longer to build up that vitamin D that we need. I know I am deficient. I'm taking vitamin D right now because I'm in the house working a lot. So getting out in nature is another way to help calm your nervous system, help you de-stress and reduce that stress response. Okay, let me see what's in the chat. I undereat good. Is it okay to do a protein shake for breakfast instead of food? You can. I don't see anything wrong with protein shakes. My personal favorite, just as far as taste wise, is the Fairlife brand. So if I do buy a protein shake, I will, those are the ones that I buy. Obviously most of your food, you want to eat regular food. And if you're a person who's like not hungry in the morning, a lot of my clients, once they actually start following, like having something in the morning and their strength training, they figure out that they're like, by the end, they start getting real hungry and they actually need some food. And that's actually a good thing because that's also a signal of hormones. So hunger is actually a good thing. When my clients are like, oh my God, I'm so hungry, I'm like, yes. It's not because we are in a very low calorie deficit and they're starving themselves. It's because they're actually eating more, they're training, and now their body, their metabolism is like, yeah, let's go. So that's actually a good sign. But yeah, I would say I don't have a problem with protein shakes, but most of your food should come from actual food. Good question. Anybody else have any other questions, y'all? Do not pour from the sit in silence. Strength training. How would a person start? I haven't started anything. Yeah. So if you're totally not into strength training, or maybe you haven't done it before, I would just start with YouTube. Like literally get on YouTube. Grow with Joe is a very popular one with people that I know. And it's a YouTube video. It's free. You can put it on your smart TV and you can do it from home. So I would get a pair of weights, like a heavy pair and a light pair. Start from home. If you feel really uncomfortable with like form and things like that, you might want to get a trainer. But you can also do some research on like best form for a squat or best form for your deadlifts or something like that. But obviously getting a trainer is going to be the best, and somebody that's in person. Like I think that if you are not astute in lifting and you have never lifted before, having an in-person trainer is very important so that you don't hurt yourself. Work on your mindset, chasing joy, doing things that make you happy, setting boundaries, saying no. Yes. I love that you gave us a whole outline. What's the name again? You're talking about the protein shake? The protein shake I use is Fairlife. I'm not saying that that's the best or the worst, but that's the one that I like. I always have a protein shake after my workout. Yep, that that works fine. I know a lot of people will try to have some protein after their workout, especially if they lift within an hour or two of their workout. Sometimes I do that too, and that is a good habit to create. So YouTube has a lot of free workouts. Yes, I haven't been to the gym since COVID. Kind of reluctant to go to the gym. Yeah, and you don't have to go to the gym. You can just be at home. You can start right at home. I mean, you can start with just doing body weight, doing some push-ups. Like, how many push-ups can you do? Right? Like, how many squats can you do? You can start off with just body weight, and then you can work your way up. Tawana loves lean body protein shakes. I don't think I've ever had those before. All right, y'all. So if you have any other questions, let me know in the chat. I'm going to hop off. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if you're interested in coaching, you can either get my MyFitnessPal makeover, which I think, if I don't already have it in the comments, I will put the MyFitnessPal makeover. Get a one-on-one call with me. That's a $129 offer. You get inside of my coaching app, same app as my other clients, and I teach you in an expedited way how to hit your macros, how many calories you need, so you can have that certainty and be more confident about what plan you have. And then, of course, the 16-week program, you can get on the wait list for that, for the group. And then secretly, I'm taking some one-on-ones. So if you want to do that, you can let me know. You're welcome, Tawana. You're welcome, April. I'll see y'all next time.